Let's get clear on this. If you're waiting to see proof of your manifestation before you actually believe in it, before you fully step into it, claim it, and live as though it's already yours, you're not manifesting with intention. You're just reacting. And that reaction keeps you locked in the very timeline you're trying so hard to leave behind. This is the biggest trap most people fall into with manifestation. They set their intentions, they repeat affirmations, they visualize the outcome. But then they start looking around for signs, scanning the 3D world for evidence. Has it happened yet? Is it working? Why isn't it here? And in doing so, they cut off the signal completely. Because the moment you need proof, that very need is proof in itself, proof that you don't actually believe it yet. So they get more things to not believe in. But the people who shift timelines fast, the ones who manifest quantum leaps in love, money, health, and success, they all have one thing in common: they've mastered the art of being delusional, not in a reckless or disconnected way, but in a radical alignment kind of way. They've decided this is mine. And they show up like reality has no choice but to comply. So if you've ever felt frustrated because you're doing everything right but nothing's changing, this might be your missing link. By the end of this video, you're going to understand why being delusional is actually a manifestation superpower, how to stop needing proof and start living from the version of you who already has it, and how to activate a state of energetic certainty so your reality begins to reflect it back, because manifestation starts when you become different. Tell me in the comments, have you ever caught yourself constantly checking for a sign or proof? Or wondering why you haven't seen anything change? Yet most of us have done this. It takes skill to get to a place in your mind where you don't do it, because the 3D is constantly staring you in the face. But by the time we're finished here today, you're going to feel confident in letting all of that go. And when you do, that's when everything starts flowing in. And that's the paradox of manifestation. The moment you stop needing the evidence is the moment it finally starts to show up. So how do you actually do that? How do you train your mind to stop looking when everything in the 3D is screaming that it hasn't happened yet? That's what we're going to shift right now. Let's talk about how to detach from proof without giving up your desire, how to embody the version of you who already knows, and why what looks like being delusional is actually a quantum skill. When it comes to intentional manifestation and conscious creation, I find that one of the most difficult things for people to accept is this: you don't look for proof that what you want has arrived. You become the proof first. On an internal level, you convince your mind of the truth of it, and it must feel so natural to you that nothing else matters the second you stop needing signs, evidence, or confirmation. That's when reality starts moving. That's when movement in the 3D takes place to your old self that might feel delusional, but to your future self, it's just the feeling of being aligned. But for most of us, that doesn't feel natural at first, because the 3D world is always in plain view, and because you're making a change from who you were to the new you that you're choosing to become. So you might look at your bank account or your inbox, your phone, your circumstances, and the evidence just may not be there yet. And if that's the case, it can feel like nothing is happening, but that's the illusion. It's the illusion of the 3D. 3D reality is delayed. The mirror projects what you previously thought, felt, and embodied. So when it looks like nothing is happening, and you've been staying true to your vision and the embodiment of the new identity, that's generally the exact moment when things are shifting for you in the unseen realms. But if you start reacting to the lack of evidence, you pull yourself right back into the old identity of the one who doesn't have it, the one that's still waiting, and then you get more not having it and more waiting. So here's the shift: you have to become the version of you who no longer checks, who believes wholeheartedly, who no longer scans the world for proof, because the version of you who has it isn't looking for that. They already know, they already feel it. There's no obsession over when or how, because they've already experienced it. They're living in what others might call a delusion, but from the brain's perspective, it's already real. This is the calm confidence of knowing that the unseen is more real than what your eyes can confirm. It's understanding that reality is always responding to your identity and your inner workings, not your effort. So how do you close this gap? You already know that you can experience your outcome as many times as you'd like in your mind, but here's the interesting part of doing this. The more you visualize and use your imagination to play with the things that you desire, the more your brain begins to accept them as real, because the brain doesn't distinguish much between a vividly imagined experience and a real one. It processes both through the same neural pathways to your subconscious mind. If you felt it, seen it, rehearsed it emotionally, it must have already happened. The repetition builds what's called neural familiarity, which is just a fancy term for saying what's familiar becomes an internal belief, Basically, the brain says this is normal for me. And once something feels normal to the brain, it begins to filter reality through that lens or that identity, and here's why that matters. Your brain is constantly running something called the reticular activating system, which you may or may not be familiar with, and this is just a kind of mental gatekeeper that decides what information gets through to your conscious awareness, and it does that based on what it believes is important or relevant to you. So, when you repeatedly imagine your desired reality with emotion and consistency, your brain flags that experience as important, and it starts highlighting opportunities, people, timing, and ideas that match the internal blueprint that you've installed. In other words, you'll start to experience more of that you begin to notice and act on things that you would have ignored before or that now appear that weren't previously available because now they align with the identity that your subconscious mind has accepted through your rehearsed mental stories, and that's how the imagined becomes tangible. Your brain literally starts collaborating with the quantum field to validate the vision. It will then block the scenarios that aligned with your old identity and open your field of perception to the ones that align with the new identity, giving you a whole new reality and a whole new set of experiences. And when you stay grounded in that identity, even while the old reality is still playing out, you create coherence between your inner world and the quantum field. You collapse time because you're no longer reacting to the delay. You're actually stabilizing the signal, making it stronger and more solid in your experience of reality. Things begin to move, momentum builds, and all because you aligned with it in your mind, because you held the state long enough for your brain to switch channels fully and for those things to materialize in the 3D. And if it looks or feels delusional to other people, good. That's usually how you know that you're no longer playing by the old rules, you're creating new ones. Or better said, you're becoming the creator rather than a reactor to the old. Now that you understand why this works, let's talk about how to actually live it, because the difference between knowing this intellectually and living it consistently is everything. You already know that going into your mind and rehearsing is crucial, and that affirming your new reality throughout the day continues to solidify it. But here's one simple but powerful practice you can begin to use daily to enhance these things. Each morning before you pick up your phone, before you get out of bed, ask yourself one question. If I already had what I wanted, how would I move through today? How would you speak to yourself? What would you assume about others and life in general? What kind of energy would you carry when you walk into a room? What would you not waste time worrying about or thinking about? If you already had it, write out your answers if you need to, and then here's the key: you get out of bed and you act from that version of you, even if it feels awkward at first, even if your circumstances haven't caught up yet, even if your brain tries to pull you back into the familiar story of lack or waiting, because every time you hold that signal, every time you refuse to betray your future self by falling back into doubt, you train your subconscious mind to recognize the new identity as normal, and once it feels normal, reality starts conforming, so you don't have to get it perfect. You just have to be consistent. Delusional. Remember, the version of you who already has it is not negotiating with the 3D. They're deciding over and over again, and the more you decide, the faster the world bends. Now, let's do a quick activation to prime your subconscious mind for this new identity. Close your eyes for just a moment and take a deep breath all the way in, and then release it. And just imagine that the outer world is falling away now, as if you're standing in a vast open space where you can create anything that you choose. Let the tension drop from your shoulders and from your jaw and your forehead, and just allow yourself to be still in this moment. Now I want you to imagine yourself walking down a beautiful street. It's quiet, peaceful, the weather is just right, and then you spot a penny on the sidewalk. Notice how the penny looks, how the sun shines on it. And without overthinking it, walk over and bend down and pick it up. Feel how it feels in your fingers. You can even roll it around in your hand if you'd like. And once you have the feel of that, just take that penny and slip it into your pocket. You don't wonder if it's really yours, and you don't keep checking to see if it's still there. You just know it is. You felt it in your hand. You felt yourself bend over and pick it up. You claimed it, so it's done. It's in your pocket. It belongs to you now. That's how easy it is. Now, in the same moment, I want you to imagine your greatest desire, that thing that you've been ready to bring into your reality. See it form in front of you. Just let it take shape. And then feel it in your hands, or if it's intangible like love or security, imagine it forming into something tangible in front of you, a symbol that represents it, and then just take a moment to feel that in your hands. Feel the texture, the temperature, all the curves or edges. And now, gently and effortlessly, just place that thing in your pocket, just like the penny, and as you do so, tell yourself, This is mine now in this present moment this belongs to me. And then as you place your hand over your pocket, I want you to actually feel the energetic weight of it press your palm. There, rub the fabric, gently feel the shape of what you claimed inside your pocket. You're holding it as yours now, and this is where you can seal the memory. From this point forward, whenever you find yourself doubting, waiting, or checking, just rub your pocket physically or in your mind, and you'll remember it's already with me. I already claimed it, I'm carrying it now. And your nervous system will remember this sensation. Your subconscious mind will recognize this touch, and your energy will return to the certainty of it and the completion of it. So breathe into that now and feel how it feels to be the person who has it. Now feel how calmly you walk, how differently you see the world, because when something's already yours, you move differently. Let this new rhythm settle into your body, because this is how it begins. You're simply walking through life with your desire in your pocket already claimed, and now your brain is tuning to the quantum field to find the exact path to get you there. And each time you imagine your pocket or touch your pocket, it will tune in a little more, and life will catch up to meet you. You can even place a penny in your pocket each day to remind yourself that what you desire is also with that penny. So let this knowing stay with you and nurture it daily, and the world will show you what you've chosen as your experience of reality. Remember, your only job is to stay aligned with the version of you who already knows. Not because you saw proof, but because you decided. You stop arguing with what you see. You stop reacting to the old identity, and you start responding to your new one. Keep holding that signal, and watch how quickly your world will begin to shift.